Reinforcements is a strategy game for 2 to 4 people. Take turns using cards from your hand to build up your army or attack your foes. Create stacks with cards of the same color to unlock powerful abilities and passive effects. Be the last army standing to win the game.
Hey Meeple people, how's it going? On today's vlog, we're going to be talking about Reinforcements by Peasant Mob. This is a game coming to Kickstarter, I believe, in October of this year. This is a 2 to 4 player game. It's ages 14 and up, and it takes about 20 to 60 minutes to play. We're going to go ahead and get to the table here in a second and look at components, talk about an overview of how the game plays, and then we're going to come back for some final thoughts about the game and tell you about what me and Sarah liked and didn't really like, or just our pros and cons, I guess, about the game. But this is one I would definitely have someone that likes playing card games to check out. But let's not get ahead of myself. So let's go ahead and head to the table and talk to you more about Reinforcements by Peasant Mob. Alright, so welcome back, Meeple people. This is all the stuff that you'll see in Reinforcements. This is, again, a prototype, so none of this stuff is final form, but I feel like the artwork and, to me, everything seems pretty solid. Maybe card quality will be improved, or maybe some new artwork will be introduced when the Kickstarter goes live, and like I said, I believe it's October. But let's go ahead and explain some of how Reinforcements is played. So the first thing in the game, the point of the game is you'll have these stacks here, and you're trying to get rid of the other opponent's stack. So once a stack, or all their stacks are gone, that player is eliminated. If it's a 2-player game and you do to your other opponent, you win. This is like a last man standing game. So at the beginning of the game, you'll get 5 cards. And the powers here are kind of like you want the highest power. So when you attack, you want to defeat something that is lower power than you. And if you die, we'll get into more of that later. So here you have 5 cards. You'll take 3 of those cards for the setup and create your first 3 stacks. Then you're going to go ahead and whatever 2 cards you have left over, you're going to pick one of those and put it to the middle. Like say if this was it. If you took this card, for example, you're going to go ahead and put that in the middle and hopefully try to win with that card. You want the highest card to see who goes first or second. Maybe you don't want to go first, but that's up to you. And then the last card out of your hand is going to just stick with it. So then after you go ahead and do that setup where you set up your stacks, put your card out to see who gets to go first, and then keep that last card, the first player is going to go ahead and start their turn. So at the beginning of your turn, this is a little play rate. It's double-sided, so you can go ahead and get through your turns pretty easily. So you're always going to do, let's see, that's the abilities. You're always going to draw up. So the first thing you always do before you do one of your 3 actions that you have to take, attack, defend, or discard, is you have to draw up to 5 cards. So you're always going to have 5 cards at the start of your turn. You're always going to have that 5th. And then after that, you get to do one of the next actions. You get to take a card from your hand to attack, take a card from your hand to defend, which is adding cards to your stacks, or you're going to go ahead and discard as many cards as you want to the discard pile, which we would have if we started discarding cards, and then you'd be able to get more cards, and so you can go ahead and do more damage or get super sweet abilities. So let's go ahead through some of the cards you'll see in the game. So like I said, this is a card. This is the card's power. This is their artwork. And this is their faction. We'll get into factions in a little bit. And then these cards are interesting. These cards are your peasant, your assassin, and your mage. These all have special abilities within the game. The peasants, if you ever have 5 peasants and you go ahead and discard, so your whole hand has to be peasants, unless you have an ability that lets you have more cards in your hand, which we'll talk about later. The peasant, if you have 5 peasants and discard 5 peasants using the discard action, that will actually get rid of an entire stack. And I'll tell you how many cards can be in a stack at once. And so yeah, that's pretty powerful, but it's pretty hard to do. Next, you got your assassin. you can go ahead and play that on one of the stacks, and you get rid of one card, any card within that stack. And there's only 3 different colors in the game, but they all have the same amount of peasants, assassins, and mages. So the last card we'll go ahead and talk about is the mage. The mage is pretty cool, is where you go ahead and you'll do an attack, and you'll go ahead and destroy the top 2. So not like this one where you can go anywhere in the stack. This one will let you destroy the top 2 automatically. Doesn't matter what power they have, whether they're revealed or secret. And that's another thing. When you start the game and you take your 3 cards, it's all going to be face down. So that's a little bit about the specialty cards and a little bit about the cards there. So let's go over these totems. Well, let's go over the totems once we get to how many cards you can play and how you get them. So one of your actions is attacking. So you're going to take a card from your hand, and if the stack is face up or face down, you're going to go ahead and play that in front of it. You're going to flip that card over, and look, obviously you've destroyed the stack. So during an attacking action, both cards would be destroyed. And if there are more cards here, like say we had another card on top of that, or behind this too, it would keep going because it would still have enough, they call it bleed over. You would go ahead and apply whatever damage to the next one, whether you could destroy it or you get into a tie. Now, with an attack that succeeds, both cards are discarded. And then with an attack that fails, it's only the attacking card that gets discarded, but it's a card you're using from your hand. And if the card survives, you place that face down, and this just goes back to the discard pile, and then you move on. Now, in any time, you go ahead and let's see if we can't. There's a 5. So say you, for some reason, attacked with another 1, or just another same number. You call out reinforcements, and then you will draw a card off the top of the deck. Defending player will always draw first, and then whoever has the higher number of that will win the battle, and whoever has less will lose. And if it's tie, you'll actually do it again. So think kind of like war. You'll keep flipping and flipping cards. So that is attacking. And then if you ever failed an attack, that card will go back face down. So you have to try to always remember that. The next thing you can do on your turn is defend. So when you defend a card, you're going to go ahead and actually place another card on one of your stacks. So say I'm going to take this card and I'm going to place it here because the stacks have to be the same color. So anytime you're defending, you always have to do the same. So say I take this 4 and put it here, I'll place that face down because that stack is face down. Now, I told you about these cards over here and when they come into effect. Those are totems. There's a thing where if you get, say, there's already 2 there, and it was my other turn, and I had another red, and I go ahead and take that and place that there. Stacks can only ever get 3 high, and you can only ever have 5 stacks. So if I get to the point of having 3 cards in my stack, I'm actually going to flip all those over. So I'll go ahead and flip all those cards up. Now that stack's revealed, and I get a card off the top, just a random card. I could just see it. But now I place it down to one of my other stacks. So now I have 4 stacks. One more, so I can keep in the game. Now you can only ever have a total of 5 stacks. So you want to be obviously adding cards to your other stacks, but also you don't want to add too much, because if you can't get another stack, you've kind of wasted an opportunity to get a stack, and that can actually hem you up in this game. So once you get that 3rd stack and it is that one color, you will go ahead and get your new stack. And if you ever get a second, so if I ever was able to pull off a second red, I would actually get the red totem. With all these totems, these 3 here particularly, they're corresponding with their specific color. So if I get 2 red, I will get the Berserker Worm. If I am able to flip up 2 green, I'll get the Elusive Chameleon. And if I ever get the Guardian, or 2 blues, I'll get the Guardian Elk. They are powerful cards that have a one-time ability, but they can be lost. They can be lost if these cards will always stay revealed. So even if opponents start attacking them down and destroying them, they're going to go ahead and stay there unless all of the cards that are required to get these totems are destroyed. So once that's destroyed, say like one of my 2 red stacks are destroyed, then I lose my totem and I'll send them back. And then if I ever use my totem on a player's on my turn, then I'll send it back to the pile of totems. So that is defending. So you want to be playing cards to defend, and so you can reveal cards, get new stacks, and possibly even acquire totems. Now let's go ahead and move into our last one, which is discard. Discarding is pretty self-explanatory. You don't like cards, or you're trying to have something pop off. You're trying to get 5 peasants, which I tried in our games, and didn't really work out well. But you can discard as many of those cards as you want, and you place them over by the discard pile right next to the draw pile, and then you will go ahead and wait until your next turn to go ahead and draw up to your hand limit, which is 5 in this game. And yeah, so that was that. And anytime also when you go ahead and acquire 3 of the same, you're gonna get a kingdom ability, even if you don't have to. This is once you revealed 1 stack of 1 color, you'll get a kingdom ability. So for red, it is called Barrage. Barrage, it allows me to attack with red cards in my hand or with red cards revealed. So now all these cards that are on the field normally you couldn't attack with, you'd always have to attack with cards in your hand. I can now take these cards and attack them with attack them against other stacks. So that's the red. And I also get a passive ability now until that goes away, or if I keep it up, then I'm good. But if someone destroys all of these cards, then I lose my red ability. Blue has theirs. It's called Fortify. I can now defend a revealed blue stack with a blue card from my hand. Passive is revealing blue stacks may have now 4. So normally this is it. That's all you can have. But blue can have 1 more, and that's color specific. I can't do that with any other colors. And green. Green is trade. Anytime I reveal 3 green cards in a stack, I now can exchange for an action. They call that a kingdom action. I can activate it and replace a card revealed green stack with a green card in my hand, or another position of 2 cards in a revealed green stack. So if between my 2 green stacks, I could start swapping things around, make the top more defense heavy, so I can keep that stack alive. And then my passive is having my maximum hand size increased by 1 for every revealed green stack. So that's the ability I was talking about. If I had a bunch of green stacks, say like 2 green stacks, now I can have 7 cards instead of just 5 cards within my hand, which is pretty cool. So we went over the actions and also what they call kingdom actions, the ones you get 3 colors within a stack, and you go ahead and now you have that red ability. You can do that anytime before your regular 3 actions or your kingdom action. You can do those in any order. And also then when you get one of the totems, you can use them in any order as well. This totem right here is if you have 1 stack of every color, then you get this one. And like I said, it's a one-time use that is pretty good. I think I got it once within our last game, but yeah. So that's pretty much reinforcements in a nutshell. This is a little overview to kind of get you guys in the feel of what reinforcement is. And hopefully you'll get excited once the Kickstarter comes in October. But now let's go ahead to our final thoughts and talk about our experience with reinforcements and kind of our pros and cons for that. So let's go ahead and do it. See you guys in a sec. Hey, Meeple people, how's it going? We're back to our final thoughts of Reinforcements by Peasant Mob, and so this was an interesting one. This is a card game. It takes up a little bit of space. It's like I was saying in the overview, there's 5 stacks you can have, and they go 5 stacks, and they go up to 3 cards. But if you have blue, you can go up to 4 cards per blue stack, which is interesting. It does take a little bit of space, so definitely 3 or 4 players could feel very crowded, especially 4 players could feel kind of crowded. But we didn't feel that way with 2 players. It felt pretty controlled. We were attacking each other a lot, so that was interesting. There was a lot of that tug of war feel with it, and Sarah doesn't really like that one. And I feel I don't not like tug of war within games, but if the tug of war goes on for too long, then it's just it just gets annoying. It's like, okay, we're really dragging out the game. That's what I want to say, dragging out the game. So when you drag out the game, the game experience becomes less enjoyable. So there was that. But with going back and forth, I think we were thinking some points about the game too hard. Like, okay, which card do I want to give up? Do I want to discard my hand to get some new cards? And do I want to defend this area right now? Do I want to defend that area? And at least for me, defending was a hard choice sometimes, because you always wanted to be on the attack, but also you didn't know what to defend. And then you're also drawing cards that are essentially just random. So you could get a bunch of low end cards, and then your opponent could get a bunch of high end cards. You're like, oh, I really didn't. That's gonna hurt me. But you don't know what they have until they start whipping out with one. And then when you try to attack them, that's when you can find out, is when you try to attack their stacks, and their stacks are having like these high end cards. Like, okay, well, there's that. But then you're trying to, like, for me, I was trying to do peasants a lot. I was trying to get all those ones, and it was taking a lot. And that was another thing we noticed, is we didn't really like how you, in a 2-player at least, could mill your hand. You could be like, okay, I've got 5 cards that I can't use. 3 of them are peasants, and 2 of them I want to go ahead and try to get 2 more peasants. So maybe this is like the Hail Mary that I'm trying to do. And I was trying that a lot. I think that's what got me, because there's a certain point within the game where I'm just trying to get cards, get cards, and I stopped defending, which was going to reveal me cards and allow me to get more stacks, because stacks were depleting. And then once their stack is revealed, it stays revealed. So it's not getting me any more stacks. Even if I lose a card, everything doesn't flip back down. I still have to go ahead and try to get new stacks so I can reveal cards and hopefully get more stacks. And then with hopefully revealing cards, I can get a second stack of a color, or maybe one of each, to get one of those totems, because they were pretty good. But another thing is the assassins, and the mages, they're very few within the game, and that hurt me a lot. There was one game where Sarah got a lot of them. She may have gotten all of them. I could not get one. Maybe I got one. It just didn't feel like I got one. I feel like I always was missing out on the assassins and the mages, because those could have really helped me in times, but there are very few of them within the game. And it's like, oh, I just need one. And they're like, no, you don't get one. It's like always trying to, and that's a thing. We go back to the milling of the hand. I was just trying to get one of those cards, because a mage, when you use them to attack, they automatically get rid of the top 2 cards in the stack. That is super powerful in this game. And that is ridiculous. And I wasn't even able to get him. So it kind of got me frustrated. I was like, man, this is a 2-player game, and she's the one getting all the good cards. I got to do the peasant thing once, and I think that was one of my downfalls, is I was going after this peasant ability too much. But when I did it, it was nice. It was good. But that was only 1 stack. I only got rid of 1 stack doing that. So it was definitely interesting, the strategies that you could do within this game. But if you focused on any one thing too long, it was just like you've kind of screwed yourself. You kind of shot yourself in the foot, because if the other person is drawing up on their normal turn and they're getting good cards, and they're just like, I'm going to attack that. Okay, you've destroyed this. What's the next card? Oh, you could, the whatever power was left over, got to get rid of that card. So it was a little frustrating at that point. I definitely think the totems within the game are really cool. They got one-time abilities. Let's see a couple of these. Like I didn't go in depth with them too much, but if you got the Berserker Worm, they're all about attack. You can eliminate any 3 cards in the playing field. I mean, these are the Chameleon. You could ever switch any one stack with another stack, which is again an intense ability. And then the Guardian Elk for the blue, they're mainly like defense. They go ahead and they'll draw 3 cards and defend up to 3 times using any cards in your hand. So you get that defend action 3 more times, and you get to draw cards. That's crazy. That is nuts in this game. And then there's also this hero totem. This hero totem allows you to defend any attack at any time or one-time use. I'm pretty sure you can also use these to save yourself from a mob attack. So if your player discarded 5 mob cards and was able to destroy an entire stack, you could be like, nope, I got this. But they're one-time uses. But if you also lose those cards, like I was explaining in the overview, if you lose them, if you lose all of the requirements to get that card, like all those stacks that allowed you to get that totem, then you lose a totem without even using it. So that's pretty intense. But yeah, I got the hero totem once and I didn't lose it. But this is a very like I said, there's tug of war, but there's also strategic planning. When can you attack? What do you want to attack with? There were a few reinforcements where her attack and my attack were the same, and so we'd have to draw out. That was exciting. It was pretty a last ditch effort. Hopefully you were like, okay, I'm going to defend or I'm going to die with this, and hopefully I'll defend. But it was the game is very kind of not, I wouldn't say all over the place. It was just like you have to think about a lot of things within this one, and so it was interesting. But I think the biggest thing you have to take away from this game is the creating the new stacks. Because if someone gets rid of your stacks that aren't like all your face down stacks, and then all of a sudden you're stuck with just face up stacks, you can't get any more stacks. So then all of a sudden Sarah did that to me where I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to get those peasants so I could go ahead and destroy one of her. I was so tunnel visioned on one of her stacks during a game, and that she just knocked off the stacks that could get me more cards for my stacks. So I can't. And then after I didn't have any more face down stacks, and I just had face up stacks, I was like, great. I have to try to do the same thing to her, and then it's just hopefully who will get the better cards first so they can win, and hopefully get those mages and those assassins. But that didn't really happen for me. She got a lot of good cards, and that's kind of, I think, one of the things within this game that could really frustrate somebody is if they're not dealt a good hand, and if they spend that time, too much time, like I did, trying to get new cards or anything like that. Sometimes I even throw away some good cards to try to go ahead and grab some more peasants. It's thinking I had time, but then all of a sudden, she got some good cards from one of her draws, and she was able to be like, boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh, like I'm done. Like basically, I'm trying to survive and trying to like destroy your hand. Hopefully, you're not able to kill me. But I mean, I had one of the kingdom actions I think I had read at the time, so I could attack with something in my stack. But I don't want to attack with anything of that like the last or the few stacks that are face up, because I want to be able to survive. I mean, eventually she whittled me down, and I was like, I had maybe a 1 at the beginning of that stack, and I was just like, oh, she's gonna have like anything to destroy that stack. So it's interesting also that you can't mix and match colors. They always have to be the same. So sometimes you want to protect a stack that's face up, but if you don't have that color, then you can't do that. You can only play, you can only defend cards of the same color. So you can only add to stacks that are the same. So definitely an interesting game. Definitely sometimes it has their possibilities of making it a game where someone would feel very cheated or very like, slighted against because they didn't get a good hand, which I think is probably maybe one of the biggest issues with the game. But I don't want to sound too harsh with it, but it just is kind of like, okay, there's, if you don't pay attention to your cards or don't get good cards or don't pay attention to your strategies, this is one of those games you have to be very careful not to, screw yourself in this. So, yeah, this was our final thoughts of Reinforcements by Peasant Mob. We hope you all enjoyed it and can't wait for more of our content. If you are not subscribed yet, please get subscribed. Stay up to date on all of our content. And we're going to do more of these type of videos, get more out there for you so you can go ahead and just indulge and see what new games or ingest, I guess, what new games are coming out in just our news or our reviews of this. But I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I enjoyed doing these for you, and I hope you enjoyed this game. And if you're, again, we'll have all the information in the description below, so you can go ahead and find more information and possibly a Kickstarter link, so you can go ahead and keep to a follow to see what other stuff comes out for Reinforcements in October and when it launches and all that good stuff. So yeah, well, until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Toodles!